Hello guys! Welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, we're back here with another podcast, and today we have a special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I'll wave the hand that you can actually see on the camera. Hi, my name is Jaden. I'm here to hang out and talk about anime.
Yeah! So, she will be joining us for some of our more special episodes, some that we specifically want her to be joining us for, and she is Quinn's girlfriend.
We belong together. So
Yeah.
that's good.
Yep. That's why they're on that side and me and him are on this side, so. Yeah. Anyway.
Neither of us have girlfriends.
Anyway. So today we wanted to talk about how we got into anime, what kind of like was our gateway anime, what got us into it, and what we liked, as well as like what we watched when we were kids, because most of us started when we were younger, and at least I know for three of us, we kind of had shows when we were younger, and then we had another like renaissance era of anime for us, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
It's true, it's true.
Anyway, which side do we want to start on? Doesn't matter. Tanner, go!
Well, I started watching anime believing and calling it cartoons because Saturday morning cartoons were a thing. They probably still are a thing, but...
You know what? With like TiVo and Hulu, I don't think any kids really know the true
That's so
joy
true,
of
though.
that's why you got up on Saturday mornings was so that you could watch cartoons. Like, or if like you're sitting with your sibling on a couch and you're like, the commercial's over! You gotta get back in right now! Like, you just pause the TV. Like, nobody knows. Nobody understands that anymore. It's real sad.
It's true. Run into the bathroom and...
Right? But it goes so
Yeah.
fast, or you miss your show.
4Kids TV.
And when the commercials were actually...
my show, and then my show's over, and it's like, all right, sister, it's your show.
You can
now.
watch
I'm
Winx
out.
Club now.
Yeah, you can watch
There's always Winx Club!
Winx Club!
Somehow, every week it's like, this show. Well, I'm gonna go eat breakfast.
Finish with my show, you go watch the Winx Club, I'm gonna go eat some breakfast.
Speaking of, what came before that, Pokemon, or Yu-Gi-Oh! Was what I started with as a young child.
Yeah, I mean, I started with Yu-Gi-Oh! As well, which was... I mean, it was a good show.
Yeah,
It's Yu-Gi-Oh! Though.
fun as a kid. It was really fun as a kid.
Definitely a kid's show.
And he's
What do you want? Hey, how's it going?
There's a stalker in the background.
Stop.
We're all gonna wave.
No. We're just
What?
gonna light it on fire after this.
Bring all the stuff back this time or no?
Yeah,
Stuff?
that's what I do.
Stuff.
Seeing move the couch back to where it goes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What do you mean? This is where the couch goes.
Yeah,
What are you talking about?
This is where the couch always is.
You just look into the bright light.
That's how projectors work.
Yeah.
Projector.
It goes straight into
Yeah.
your eyes.
I mean, your eyes are the screen.
Retina.
I've moved it back every time. It just sat here for like 2 hours once. Okay?
How dare you?
How dare I?
How dare you?
For 2 hours.
I know.
Hey, future me, put this in the bloopers.
The problem was that the dog ate all the in and out.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah! Because you didn't finish your burger!
Does Quinn ever finish any of the food he's given in one sitting?
Hey, I ate Subway.
Hey!
Yeah, but in how many sittings?
2.
You
Yikes,
can't
man!
finish a sandwich in one sitting?
I got a foot long and I ate half of it, and then I went back to work, and then I came back and ate the other half.
Okay, that's
That's
fair.
what I do.
Okay, that I'm okay with. Anyway. Are we,
You-
Today's
Yu-Gi-Oh.
sponsor, very good soap.
Do you know what time it is?
Like quarter after 7.
Thanks, mate!
Dang it! I was gonna do a thing.
Bye, Ryan.
MVP, Ryan!
Bye.
Introducing our other
Exactly a quarter after.
non-singing him guest star, Ryan!
Be the peanut guy.
Yeah,
Okay,
there you go.
Can you close the
Thanks, mate.
door?
What I was
No,
looking
yeah.
for was...
It's time to duel!
Oh!
I got it!
I was
Thank
like,
you.
Tournament arc? Oh,
Oh, man.
Tournament arc!
Tournament arc! Training arc! Tournament arc!
Yeah! Anyway, after that slight distraction, yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh was mine. I mean, I kind of watched Pokemon, but not really. I watched more Digimon than Pokemon, which was...
I just remembered some of my favorite Pokemon moments, and one that you definitely missed out on if you haven't seen it. The Butterfree episode where Ash's Caterpie somehow quickly... No, it's when he has to say goodbye to Butterfree because it's like migration season, and I'm like, fly away, Butterfree! Be free!
Oh man.
Anyway,
My favorite Pokemon moment is, I'm gonna turn my trusty frying pan into a drying pan.
Into a drying.
It's the dumbest moment, but it's what makes Pokemon so good.
oh my gosh, they're puns, all the puns.
Hey,
Freaking
I'm
Team
into
Rocket is
anything that
amazing.
has puns, okay? I mean...
Puns are good.
Puns are okay.
Puns are good if you're in the mood for puns.
Yes.
If you're not, then they're terrible.
If you're not in the mood for puns, you don't want to watch an episode that has Team Rocket in it, because, like,
Every
Rocket
episode.
is so bad.
but so good.
Yeah.
So good. Also, I saw a meme about it one time. It was like, Ash's Pikachu and the other Pikachu. No, we want his, specifically.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
For real, though.
stupid.
Found a Pikachu. Don't care. I want Ash's
I want
Pikachu.
that specific Pikachu.
Although, have you seen the meme of Pikachu with the ketchup bottle? And it's like, still a better love story than Twilight. Because
Okay,
he's
but
crying over the ketchup bottle.
Pikachu in that ketchup bottle, it was so sad.
That
It was
It was so sad.
I don't know what you're talking about.
First of all, that was the best episode of Pokemon.
Okay,
And second,
long story
Ash
short,
ketchup.
Pikachu fell in love with the ketchup bottle. And
More
in
or
the
less.
end,
adorable.
the ketchup bottle shattered. And it was so sad.
It didn't shatter. It got cut in half by Scyther.
The Sky Dragon? Wrong
No,
show.
that's Slifer.
And
It
his,
died. And long story short, there was
and his
blood and
evolved
guts.
form, Caesar, is the best Pokemon in Melee.
Oh my gosh.
Gosh dang it,
You would throw a Pokemon, you'd throw a Pokeball, and you'd pray you got Caesar, because if you got him, your opponent's dead.
I prayed for Snorlax. I don't know what you're talking about.
Caesar. Like, the guy's dead. I don't know where he's going, what he's doing,
Snorlax.
but he just...
Like, why are you so big? Anyway.
Seriously, the one in Melee is way bigger than any of the other versions.
It's true. It's huge.
Anyway.
Huge.
Anime.
We talked about
Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh.
two starting
Okay,
animes.
so what time is it really, though?
Oh, like, you mean in real life.
Oh.
It is 7:32.
We got some time.
Just trying to watch out for you.
That's what I thought you were saying. I was like, we already did that thing.
No,
Jen.
no.
Like,
We already
Well-
did that.
You didn't make it to me yet, and we didn't get to
Quinn, did you
my
go?
comment.
I didn't go yet.
Quinn hasn't gone.
You
Go,
go,
Quinn.
Quinn.
Quickly.
I watched Goku.
Ah.
Yeah, no. I watched Dragon Ball Z as like a really little kid with my dad on Saturday mornings. And then
Good stuff.
I don't really remember much of that, but I remember it's the reason why I loved Dragon Ball when I rented it from the library on DVD. When I got my library card, that's the first thing I got, Dragon Ball. Watching Goku with his power pole and training with Master Roshi and Krillin.
Nice.
Good times
Yeah,
for
man.
Quinn.
Do we know how he got? Anyway. Not important.
Always important, Kyle.
I was gonna ask, do we know how he got his power pole?
No, I have no idea.
I
I don't, it was a long time ago.
Long
Either
time
it was in the first episode or I actually don't remember. Because I haven't watched
Both
Dragon
of these
Ball
things
in
are equally
years.
likely.
Yeah.
Probably both.
Probably. It's probably both. It was in the first episode and I just don't remember.
No, that's definitely. Alright.
Anyway, I've watched the first episode and it was in it. I remember the first episode. Bulma shoots him in the face.
That's why I was like, do we know how he got it? Because I remember it also being in the first episode. Because
Yeah.
I watched that. Anyway. Oh, you.
Oh, well, thank you.
You're
So,
welcome.
my first anime that so if we're gonna go to like I didn't classify it as anime at the time, but later realized it was anime, was Sailor Moon. I had a babysitter as a kid that we together would watch Sailor Moon, and I never had like this is a weird cartoon, or this is something I don't like. It was always like, oh, this is a cartoon, and these girls run around in really short skirts, as what happens, and so I didn't...
As one does.
Right? It's fine. It's totally cool. Also, this one girl has hair that goes down to her ankles. That's weird, but it's cool, you know? Like, I didn't even think about it.
Sailor Moon.
Yeah, have you ever seen Sailor Moon's hair? It's the weirdest stuff ever, my dude.
It's crazy.
Fair enough.
Short skirt and hair that goes down to your ankles.
Her
I mean, it's not the
canonical
shortest
love
of
interest
skirts,
calls
but-
her Meatball Head in the English dub, so
That's incredible. Wow.
it's pretty great, yeah.
Okay. So, that was, most of our experiences were
Pretty young.
pretty young. I mean, as is probably most people our age, we've all had that experience with
Like-
anime.
Yeah, I also watched Yu-Gi-Oh! As a kid. Oh.
Of course.
So, on the topic of Yu-Gi-Oh!, here's what I want to know next. Now we've all kind of talked about, like, what our accidental first anime, I guess, is. What was your first intentional anime? Like, what did, like, you went looking for it in, like, a, okay, I know that this is an anime, but I'm actively watching it.
Quinn, do you want to start this time?
Sword Art Online.
Excellent work.
Nice.
I've already told...
Yeah,
I think I've told all of you this.
Just tell it again.
I love telling this story because it's my favorite story.
Don't lie.
I was in high school and I wanted to get into anime because the few friends that I had would talk about anime and I wouldn't know what they were talking about, and I thought it would be fun to watch. And so the girl that I liked, this pretty girl, she
That's the only reason you watch anime is for a pretty girl. Just remember that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I mean,
It's not working for us.
kind of.
No.
She recommended Sword Art Online, so I watched it.
Oh, she
And
what?
Yeah.
Uh,
I watched the first the first episode, and I loved it. And I thought, I am going to love anime, and I'm going to watch it forever. The rest of the show was alright. The first episode was amazing, and the opening is amazing.
Yeah, I think
And it really got
we've
me
talked about
into actually looking for anime online, and I'd look it on just trash anime TV sites, and I didn't know that I was like pirating and stealing it at the time.
where it's like
That's how I watched Sword Art
Mirrored.
Online 2. That's how I watched Konosuba back in the day when it first came out. And then I realized, hey, people pay for their anime watching services. And so I got a Funimation account and I watched Fairy Tail with
Nice.
Brooklyn. We watched
Nice.
Soul Eater. We watched all kinds of stuff. So
I watched my anime on
back in high school,
Yeah,
Very
that's what I
nice.
started too.
16.
All right, my turn.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's see. I started with. So technically, I also did Sword Art Online, but I had kind of two separate, kind of like three separate anime occasions, and like when I started watching anime. So the first time I watched Sword Art Online, and then I waited a couple years and I didn't. I just watched Sword Art Online because I'd heard it was good and
Uh-huh.
that I needed to watch it, kind of thing. And this was in high school, like sophomore year, I want to say, right? And then senior year came along, and one of my friends was reading Death Note.
Wait, he was reading it.
He was reading Death Note. We
Yes.
got Death Note in the library. Levi Carpenter,
I love him. He's amazing.
cool dude.
He got
Shout
back
out to Levi. I don't know you, but
He's pretty
God
awesome.
bless, man.
I don't know you, but you're pretty cool, dude.
I don't know you, but you're cool.
Yeah, you read Death Note.
He got back from Georgia like a month ago. The,
The
country,
country.
not the state.
That was cute. You guys did that in tandem.
High five me, please. Thank you.
Didn't know what to say. But he was reading Death Note, and Quinn was talking about anime, like Fairy Tail and Soul Eater and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'll give it a try. I watched Sword Art Online years ago. I enjoyed it. I'm gonna watch this show that I know is an anime, which is Death Note. And I watched Death Note, fell in love with it, and then
It's an amazing show.
And then I watched Soul Eater and Fairy Tail. I did not finish Fairy Tail. I'm on like episode 30 something. It's like 200.
I mean, considering that Fairy Tail is still actively being published, I doubt you finished it.
Yeah. I'm not even close, I should say. But like,
Or Soul Eater.
Yeah, I didn't even finish Soul Eater.
What kind of anime fan are you, Kyle?
Casual.
He's working on it. Okay? He's working on it.
He's getting there.
Hey,
Don't give him
I
so
got
much
I got to
crap.
part 4 of Soul Eater, okay?
Okay.
But then
Hey, man,
I had
You what?
shut up.
Okay.
I'm punching
Wait,
in the
what?
face.
What?
I made it real far.
I'm missing something here.
That's fine. And then I stopped watching again because like I didn't know what else there was out there. Like I tried to look for stuff that was on Netflix, but it's Netflix and it doesn't have everything. And so I was
And
like,
back then,
I don't know
Super
what to
didn't
watch.
have anything.
First tip
Yeah.
of the day: don't watch anime on Netflix.
Some of them are good.
well, correction.
Well,
some of them.
Don't-
original. Before there was like
Yeah.
Netflix originals and things like that. Netflix was not the place to watch anime.
Yeah. So like I had heard about My Hero Aka, Boku no Hero Aka, which I wanted to watch, but it's not on Netflix, so I just like didn't.
You just didn't have a way. To
I just didn't
watch
have a
it.
way to watch it, and I didn't really have money to spend on a subscription service. And then later, I was like, I was watching a freaking, I was watching a Game Theory episode,
Okay.
and there was. I'm gonna punch
Sorry.
you in the face.
Okay, look at Tanner right now.
And and
Kids
so
between us, that's great.
I was watching the Game Theory episode, and it had like a
I'm
special
so
deal,
stunned.
and it had a special deal for Verve, which
Oh,
which
yeah.
I was like, sweet, I could watch like. You know, all the old Nickelodeon shows and stuff like that. And like, the reason I wanted to watch it was
Right.
because I was like, I want to watch freaking Temple of Doom, the like kids Survivor-esque thing.
Yeah.
And I watched an episode and it was just like,
Dumb.
this is stupid. Obviously, it was meant for kids. But that's how I got
You were a kid, it
Verve.
was real cool though. Okay.
Yeah, that's how I got Verve. And then I was like, isn't there anime on this? And I like looked it up, and there's like a ton. And I was like,
That's kind of yeah.
Well, I
The main
mean,
selling
that's
point.
what Verve
And
is
so-
for.
Yeah.
That's what I got Verve for. I was like, oh, anime. And then later was like, sweet, Nickelodeon's on here too. And
yeah, I did the
Yeah.
reverse.
Yeah.
And then, but yeah, and then after that, of course, I saw Boku no Hero Aka, and
You're like,
I was like,
score.
yes.
Score.
So I finally watched it, and then from that, I was just like, Quinn, what do I watch?
Wait, did Verve
He's
have-
like,
I showed up. to
this,
my house
then this,
like,
then this,
oh,
then
like
this.
What do I watch? I
yeah,
have
back when
anime.
Verve had
They were fun-
Funimation.
mhm, They were together, so they had the dub. Yep.
Yeah, after Funimation went its own way, then it's not on Verve anymore. But
Yeah.
Which was real sad, but I got a bunch of Verve
Yeah.
money, so it was fine.
all of Verve was like, oh, so sorry about that. Here, have some money.
Oh, they gave you like a.
Yeah, like a credit, like all the premium. Everybody got a credit.
And
so
then they got
I got,
iDive,
like-
which is okay. It's not as good as Funimation, I don't think, but
Hi, Dad. Yeah.
good.
I mean, it has a few
It
good
has
shows.
it has
yeah.
some good dubs, like Made in Abyss was High Dive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Main
mhm.
Abyss is on it now, which I'm really happy about. I'm gonna rewatch it.
The real secret to this is you just have all of the subscription services, and you have.
I think at this point I have.
Here's what we
4?
really should be doing: is all four
I
of us
like-
should have one each, and we should all be sharing.
Well, let's see. I have Verve, using your Funimation,
Yep.
using Aiden's Hulu, using my family's Netflix, and then I pay for YouTube. And then, is there another one? Am I missing one? Oh, Amazon Prime. I need that one.
You can use mine.
What? Hey, there we go.
Done.
Done. I need to watch
What is that?
Otakoi.
Is that like a?
So Amazon Prime used to be like you just get your packages faster, and now it also comes with like
Service.
like
Yeah.
Amazon
They've got
Video.
music and
music
video,
and
yeah.
videos and books and stuff like that. So there's good stuff on Amazon Prime.
Like Otakoi.
Listen.
Anyway.
See this? The internet's gonna think that you're taller than me.
That's your fault. You're slouching on the couch.
I'm
Well, it's because it's like sinking.
I'm like
it goes
a
like this.
foot
Yeah,
You
taller
should
than
know.
her.
He is a foot taller than me. Not even joking. A foot.
It's-
a whole foot.
It's almost all in the legs, though. So
Fair enough.
Also, he slouches on the couch.
I do slouch.
that's not
Like a
Also,
lot.
this couch is really hard not to slouch in.
That's true. As you'll notice, all of us keep like adjusting to like
yeah.
be back on the couch, but we
too
just.
comfy. Okay, Tanner.
Oh,
You're
me.
saying-
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Hey, what time is it?
Oh, yeah. It's probably time. It is 7:44.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hit the button. Also, I need to stand up.
That's real sad.
Did we
I
watch
should
this
not have
one?
worn these pants.
Yo, Tanner, you up?
Oh,
Stop!
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry!
Hit the button, and now you're up.
Okay, so
I now have a hat, don't worry. My hair is getting in my face.
It was.
I don't remember exactly what I started with. I think it was Naruto.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, because I like heard from a few of my friends like you guys that like anime's great. I'm like, I was pretty skeptical. I was like, I don't know, and so I was like, ninja are cool.
Ninjas are cool.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, this is a good show. I think I hit the first like filler between main arcs, and I had a breakdown. Like I had to stop for a while. I was like, what's happening? Nothing's happening. But I know other early shows that I watched were Your Lie in April, and that was like a much different tempo, but like
Yeah, for
music
real.
and drama and heartache. I was all about that. I was like, wow, this is awesome.
Yeah.
So like between actiony stuff and like stuff that hurts your soul, I was hooked. I was in.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Anything else? I had like this really long
Is
story.
everybody gone?
That's kind of
Yeah.
it. I mean,
Yeah, it's all
Besides
you.
me? Great, awesome. So, a little bit like Tanner, I don't know if I could pinpoint like the exact anime that I started with, though I could tell you that I didn't really start intentionally watching anime until I'd already been reading manga for a long time.
Wow.
Yeah, so I've always loved to read. I would much rather read something than watch a movie about it. I'm a little bit of a purist about that. We'll get into that another time. But so I really enjoyed manga, and then I realized, oh, manga is like the book version of a movie. They turned it into anime. And so, like, after reading, I probably read like a jabillion little short mangas. But the first one that I remember actually being like super into, like junior high, like raced my friends, all two of them, to the library to read this. Our school library had Fruits Basket available.
Oh, man.
And that was the first time that we realized that you read manga backwards. Like,
oh no,
yeah, so in the older mangas like Sailor Moon, Inuyasha, Ranma 1/2, they would flip the pages and reprint them for the American versions. And so you could read them in the right way, the right way. And
the
so,
English way.
yeah, so in the newer ones, after you figured out that you could read it backwards, then that's just how you read them. And so that was my first experience with the reading backwards, was Fruits Basket. It was also the first anime I ever owned. And it's a real interesting one if you ever want to watch it. It's pretty girly and pretty weird. Like,
Yeah.
I think I'm good.
but probably the first anime that I intentionally watched, knowing it was an anime, was probably Inuyasha. I used to watch it out of order. A sin, truly. But I was too young to know that it necessarily had an order. Also, Adult Swim played like season 1 on repeat.
Oh,
so you
yeah.
just watch season 1
Just
all the time.
watch episodes.
So I'd wake up early on school days and watch the tail end of Adult Swim to watch Inuyasha.
That's the way I watched Avatar. I didn't watch it like from start to finish the first time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too.
Was actually renting the DVDs from the library, and I just took what I could get.
Oh no.
And so I had these episodes that I loved, and there were a lot of episodes that I had never seen.
No.
Same. I hadn't watched the beach episode for like.
And so it came out on.
that's a good
I
one.
know.
No,
And so
real
it came
sad.
out on Netflix. I remember that.
I remember that.
Yeah, it did.
And I didn't have Netflix at the time. It's when Netflix was still somewhat new.
Yeah.
Ish.
And so I would go to my
As like
grandma's
a streaming
house
service
and I
instead
would
of the
watch
CD.
the entire thing, and I loved it. That was the first time I watched the entire thing.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
for me, when I first started watching Avatar: The Last Airbender at my grandma's house too, but that's because my family didn't have cable, and so when we went to grandma's house, well, they've got cable, and so we get to watch Cartoon
Dragon Ball Z
Network
Kai was
and
on cable.
Nickelodeon, and so
That's how I watched Dragon Ball.
oh,
And so you
I
watched-
was part of the generation of, I was like around for like the beginning of Avatar and got hooked on it and was like the watch it every week. Me and my friends get together. We're like, we gotta watch Avatar. Like, get our popcorn and watch it live on TV. So I don't know about the checking it out.
I watched it live. I wasn't consistently
Whose phone
watching
is
it.
that?
How dare you?
I'm just,
One of these.
I wasn't
Might be
consistently watching it live,
The sound's on, right? Sorry.
but I was watching it as consistently as I could. I was really bad at knowing when the show was on.
Yeah.
Any show.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I just watched it when I could, and I watched most of the episodes, but I missed the beach episode. I missed the desert when they were going through the desert. I missed a lot of season 1, and so yeah, I missed some of the best
it's
episodes.
the quenchiest.
Yeah, Sokka's best line, you missed it.
Yeah, so then I rewatched it on Netflix when it came out, and it was just yes, this is glorious.
is so good.
And then, so yeah, that was another show that one was one that now, I think we all very much so consider that one an anime, but I think when it came out, I didn't consider it an anime at all.
Right, especially since at the time that it came out, anime was really considered to be something linked with Japanese culture and something very targeted to that kind of culture. And it was Avatar: The Last Airbender that really brought around the anime is actually more of an art style and a storytelling style rather than just one genre of things. Obviously, because you have things like Soul Eater, which is mostly silliness. There's a little bit of story in there, but it's mostly nonsense.
So a lot of silliness.
And then you have something like Your Lie in April, which is mostly seriousness.
Oof.
Right? It hits you. And then, obviously, Dragon Ball Z is all fighting.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
screaming, mostly.
And see, that's what makes Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood the best, is it's all of those things.
And it somehow
I love
pulls it all
Fullmetal
together.
Alchemist.
Anyway, we always end up on Full Metal Alchemist.
Because it's so
Because
good!
it's the best. A+.
Best anime.
No,
What do you mean, no?
it's not best, but it's freaking
It's
top
kinda-
3. But
yeah.
What's the best one then, Kyle?
Do you want my honest opinion right
yes.
now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Spill it to me.
It's obviously Bunny Girl
Of
Senpai.
course you were going to say
I knew he was going to say
Of course
that.
you were going to say
Of course I'm going. You guys will find out through later podcasts, but Bunny Girl Senpai. And then it's Avatar. And then it's Full Metal Alchemist.
That's real sad.
Avatar is definitely above Full Metal Alchemist. Fight me. Let's go.
Can we have an... Okay.
Not right now. Anyway.
No fighting. But I was just going to say, we can cut this out, but at some future point, can we talk about cartoons? Specifically?
Yeah,
like,
you can.
Oh, we have an episode for that.
Good,
Don't worry,
Because,
don't worry.
I have a favorite show that, ranks up there with those shows, but is not an anime.
We'll talk about it.
Gravity Falls.
Oh, really?
That show.
Good. I don't think these two watched it. Have you?
What? That's it.
I've watched a fair bit of it.
I've watched a
We're
But,
having
we
a
need to- you need
podcast
to watch
groupie
all
binge
of it.
watch. Yeah, I
Because
mean, what is
it's
it? 3 seasons?
2.
Maybe?
Just 2.
Yeah.
I wish there was more, but there's
I think
just
it's
2.
40.
One of the things I love about it is that they didn't continue it because it was so
The ending
beautiful.
was so... I have a cartoon to share with you, like a fan-made cartoon about the show, 20 years later, and it's...
You must share this with me too.
I will.
I'm just going to put this in the bloopers.
This is a
Bloopers!
bonus episode.
Anyway, yes, cartoons at some point. We will talk about them.
Yes. So we're talking about so your first accidental anime because you all have one. Whether
Yeah.
it's you're watching a cartoon, you go over to your friend's house, and you're like, "Oh, this show is cool." You're like, "Oh man." Later, you look back and you're like, "I've been a
That was an anime.
I've been a weeb my whole life."
Oh no!
Then we talked about our first intentional anime. Here's an interesting question that I want to pose to you now, which is, what's the first anime you started and dropped intentionally?
Soul Eater.
Yeah, Soul Eater wasn't.
It was either Soul Eater or Fairy Tail. Fairy Tail because it had a bajillion episodes. Not necessarily that I was just bored of it necessarily, but
Yeah.
it was just too much for me.
Okay.
And then
fair.
Soul Eater was close to follow. Just because that was when I was still new to anime, and I was like,
Yeah, I just like to
don't
know
really
because
know.
there are some shows for me it was definitely I loved Pokemon. I was aware that Pokemon was an anime. Also, still thought it was a cartoon somewhere in between. And when Yu-Gi-Oh came out and tried to be the same in my small childish mind, tried to be like the same genre as Pokemon, it made me real mad. And so I watched like 3 episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh! And I was like, that's it, I'm done. So I've never actually watched all of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Oh, it's actually
And
pretty
Digimon
good.
that came out after that, I think I watched a commercial for Digimon and was like, that's it, we're done. I'm not even
That's
trying
also
it.
Pokemon.
I'm
no.
not even doing that.
Digimon, fictional monsters, Digimon.
I literally watched all of Digimon season 1 and 2.
Good job, I'm
I
proud of
never
you.
watched Digimon. First one I dropped intentionally. I don't remember.
I'm
Oh,
realizing.
it's yeah.
There's a
it's the
lot of
same
shows that I've watched. If I'm trying to think of which one I've dropped, I dropped in my most recent memory. I dropped One Piece because I watched 150 episodes,
guy. Oh,
and then I
so
got through
technically
the
a drop.
I got through the Alabasta arc, and I was still trying to watch more of it. And there was some like okay stuff, some of it kind of filler, some of it like this is kind of story and kind of not story. And the story that I just loved ended, and now it's like we're doing something completely different and we're leaving. And I just didn't like it. I was like, suddenly I've watched all of this show and
I
it's
don't want to
not-
finish
Don't wanna
it.
watch
it's
anymore.
not continuing the way I want it to continue, and I just kind of stopped
Yeah.
watching.
I feel a little bit that way about Bleach, so I said I would read more than I would watch. So I was reading Naruto, and it was recommended to me to start reading Bleach.
Mhm.
And I really liked the beginning of it. I liked how it was going. I liked the art style, all that good stuff. And then when it just became, I think it was like probably 200 chapters in, and like we're still not finding resolution. We're still on a grand adventure. The sword just keeps getting bigger. More and more people are becoming Shinigami. And it was just like, okay, at this point, I'm not sure what I like and don't like anymore. And so that was the first manga that I ever dropped, and I never watched the anime.
Fair enough. Watch the first episode.
Yeah?
I don't consider it dropping it because I just watched the first
So you
episode
never
and
got
I was
into
like,
it,
yeah.
eh.
Yeah, I wouldn't consider watching the first episode, because if we're doing that, then I have like 40 that I've dropped. But it's like I'm going back to them.
Yeah.
It's just like I haven't finished them.
That's how I am with most. Like, there's none that I've
I
like.
watched the first episode of Yu Yu Hakusho and I thought it was great, and then I didn't watch the rest.
Weird.
I also didn't watch
Hey.
Yu Yu Hakusho. I read Yu Yu Hakusho.
I
I
watched
was
the
like, this
first
is-
episode of Gamers and haven't finished it.
I was like, this is a great show.
Gamers
Never
is a
went
cute
back.
one. You should watch it.
I know!
Yep.
Come on,
It's next
Kyle.
on the list! I know!
He's got a big list of
Got a
No,
big
jeez.
list.
It's overwhelming
Me too.
how much anime
I gotta,
he needs
like,
to watch.
I gotta watch Devilman Crybaby, I gotta watch There's
Oh,
No Place
jeez.
Further Than the Universe, I gotta watch...
I've heard of that one.
Yeah, it's up there for, like, Anime of the Year for a lot of people. It's... Yeah.
There you go.
Anyway.
For me
That's-
though, I don't think there's been any anime that I've like deliberately dropped. Like, I'm not interested in this anymore. I don't ever want to. For me, I've just like taken breaks. Like I talked about with Naruto. Like,
Oh, Naruto.
I stopped for a couple months, but then I went back and I finally was able to get to like main story arc. I was like, okay, yep, this is good. It's still good. I just and see, I've
Well, I told her I'm not watching Naruto unless you know every episode that's filler and we can skip them all.
that's
That's
Like
the
you
way
have
you
to
do it.
look
That's
it
where I've
up
gotten
and you
to.
have to know which
well, yeah,
episodes
and
to
that's
skip
what I'm
and
doing
not.
because the last like 60 or 70 episodes of Naruto, like the first series, isn't manga. Like it's just the anime makers made it up so that the manga could have time to get ahead of them.
That is
basically.
exactly what a filler means, in case
Yeah.
you were wondering.
Oh, yeah.
is
Yeah.
In shows that were running at the same time that the manga's being published, they have to wait for the manga to be published, but still be
making
putting
stuff.
episodes
Yeah.
out.
Mhm.
And so
that's-
Naruto is most famous for its terrible fillers.
For having
That's-
like 100 episodes.
And that's
of
why
filler.
a lot of it doesn't make that much sense because it the
Turn.
He's upset that I'm turned on the couch,
Oh.
but it's hurting my neck to try to look at you.
okay.
It's true.
So I'm going to turn back in just a second.
Okay. We're getting all profile.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. But yeah, so I got to the point where like all of the main series arcs are done, and I'm like, and my friend was like, "Dude, just skip it." I was like, I've been thinking about it. So yeah, I'm starting Shippuden now, and like it's good because like it's story happening. But then I've also done like a similar thing with both Fairy Tail and Soul Eater, where I'm like, I just kind of stopped watching it for a while. It wasn't like deliberately. I just like don't consistently watch enough anything to like stay on top of stuff, especially like if it's still coming out.
Uh-huh.
So like those are ones that I haven't watched in a while. I've started rewatching. I mean, not rewatching, but like I picked up where I left off with Fairy Tail. But like,
I remember I dropped Mob Psycho 100, which is a good anime, and it's fun, and my sister loved it.
yeah.
And I was like more than halfway through it, and I just didn't come back to it for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
You also dropped Dead Man Wonderland.
Yeah, I
That one
did,
was weird, though.
but I watched like 2 episodes and was like, I don't think I like this.
Still considered a drop.
Yeah.
Because it's more than one episode.
Yep.
Oh, that's
Okay.
Kyle's definition of dropping.
Yeah.
I was dropping when I was young.
Wait, what?
That sounded okay. He'd be dropping when he was young. Okay.
What?
My parents were dropping on my head. When
New question. What anime did you watch that made you think I love anime?
Death Note.
The first one that you watched?
Hands down, Death Note. Such a glorious show. And then the other two that I watched right after, Soul Eater and Fairy Tail, did not compare.
It's true.
Like, they're okay shows, and they're good animes, but Death Note's a classic, and so it wasn't nowhere near the same level. And so...
It's Code Geass for me.
Code Geass was
Code
so
Geass was so good, and it was one of those, like, at the time that it came out, I'm sure it was very popular, but when I found it, it was already completed, and so it had already been, like, out of print, I guess, for a while, and so when I found it, I was like, oh, well, it's completed, I could watch that, and I got so hooked on, like, the emotions and the way that the story was portrayed, and just like, also you'll learn about me as we go. I love robot animes, okay? And Code Geass is a robot anime, so
Fair enough.
but I just remember being in love with the story and in love with the storytelling, and realizing that anime was more than just cartoon style, but also like a storytelling kind of style.
Hi. Anything for you?
I actually, yeah, the one that I super got into and was like, this is the best thing ever, was, we're coming back to Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. Ew.
Good stuff.
So good.
Yeah.
For all of
Actually-
you listening, please don't ever watch the first Full Metal Alchemist. Only watch
Yeah.
Brotherhood.
Yeah, it's pretty mediocre.
Oh man, I was told, I don't remember by who, but I was told to watch that first one.
Oh no.
I was like, should I watch the regular one or the Brotherhood one? And they were like, watch both of them.
No!
Lies and deception.
I was like, they said you have to watch the first one first and then watch Brotherhood.
really
No,
don't.
You don't.
You can,
don't.
but
I couldn't get through it.
It's
and
not
then
good.
someone said, just watch Brotherhood.
It's
And
not
I
good.
watched it and I loved it. Every second of it.
yeah.
Okay, but that's because Brotherhood follows the manga, like, verbatim,
Yeah.
which is beautiful.
amazing.
After it had all been released, everything was out, and
Yeah.
they're like, okay, let's make this way better than that show we're not
We're
going
not
to
going to talk about the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, did you have... You already said that.
Yeah.
You just did your spiel.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Was there... Okay. Quinn basically just asked the question, but I was going to say, is there one that had just a significant impact when you started, one of the ones we've already talked about, that had a significant impact on you and how you live your life? Right?
That would be...
So, like, from a young age, because of this show,
Mm-hmm.
it changed how I thought.
Oh, from a young age.
Yeah.
That would be Dragon Ball. For me.
And, like, if it didn't, cool.
Yeah. Watching the old Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, I am a martial artist partly because of it.
That's adorable.
I started martial arts when I was 6 years old.
Amazing.
It's adorable.
It is.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's a black belt.
And I've just always
really
loved
cool.
fighting, and I've always loved Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, and I'm kind of a dork, and I think that is also caused by how dorky the original Dragon Ball series is, and I watched basically that entire show. when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I watched as much of it as I could from DVDs at the library, but it was significant how much I watched.
Anything for you two?
Honestly, I wouldn't say that there was a show necessarily that changed the way that I, saw life or behaved. Definitely could get into books and music that did that for me, but not an anime.
Okay.
For me, since we are considering it an anime, Avatar: The Last Airbender, most definitely. Especially that the last season. Oof. The entire thing. All 20 episodes. It's so... a huge argument can be made that really the main character of the show is Zuko, because as far as character development, beginning episode to end, he comes so far, and he is so good. And he used to be such a dick, and it's so good. I love the show. And just the way they're able to perfectly blend adult moral concepts with childish humor, really. It's so well done, and I love it.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you with Avatar. Granted, for me, I didn't see all the good Zuko episodes. I didn't see The Beach, which is so good.
The best episodes.
Yeah, it's one
now
of the best.
favorite episode. But I didn't watch it when I first
And for
watched
you two
it.
that kind of watched it out of order, it's also hard the first time through to see that true growth of Zuko, where as I watched it all, kind of live as it was coming out, by the time you get to the end, you're like, oh!
Yes.
Yeah.
There was a moment when I was 18 where I watched that entire show through, and it changed my life.
Oh, absolutely.
But I was gonna just talk about when I was young and impressionable. Very young.
Now we can talk about when we were older.
Okay.
Because I want to talk about the one that had massive impact on me with Bunny Girl Senpai. There's a reason it's my top anime, and it's less so for how great the anime is. Not saying that it's not an amazing anime and that everyone should watch it. But it's also because through that one show, I was able to connect a lot more with people in real life. Specifically these two. Through that show, we connected so much. You're welcome.
Yes, he told me to watch it, and I watched it, and I enjoyed it.
So,
Took a
and
while.
plus,
Yeah.
took him a little while, but
Took me a little
plus, that show was coming out, and so I waited every week and was super excited, which I hadn't felt since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Right? What
yeah.
you were talking about, with the
Yeah.
commercials and stuff, except we didn't have
But
commercials.
streaming is amazing.
Because streaming.
But it was still
Waiting for next week.
waiting for the next week, and it's
It
like,
comes
oh my
out
gosh,
on
it's
this
Wednesday,
day.
guys!
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, okay, the Wednesday after the last episode, I was like,
Oh yeah, it is like,
I was so sad.
I know that feeling well because it was after the last chapter of Full Metal Alchemist came out.
No.
I was in my senior.
No.
I said I was in my junior year of high school when the last one came out. And I just remember sitting with my best friend, who's still my best friend, and just being like, "It's over."
It's the best show.
The resolution is amazing.
It's so good. It just it's just, the whole end of that whole show is so satisfying.
Yeah, it is.
but Sakta is who I aspire to be. That kind of person, someone who's there to continually be kinder and be a
This is so
kinder
sad.
person, but also doesn't care.
You dropped it.
She dropped her soda.
Sure.
Oh
Oh
no.
well.
You need some help with that?
No.
No.
You offered.
Not here. Not now.
Okay.
Wait a moment.
It's fine. It's okay.
But just someone who continually tries to be kinder,
Mhm.
as well as someone who doesn't care about what the world thinks and is incredibly smart and just witty.
It shows that so well. He
It's
doesn't care
so
what others think.
good.
It's amazing.
Just in the opening, you're like, oh,
He's
yeah,
told
that's
me
Sakta.
so many times, Sakata is who I aspire to be. I was
Sakta.
like, he has such great qualities
I've
that I
heard that
want
a
to
lot,
mimic
too.
as well. It's
Why
great.
be Sakta? Anyway, so that's, yeah. We'll do like a whole episode on impactful animes, but like
Oh, we're just doing like a brief.
yeah,
Just
Okay.
a brief one.
you already talked about like how Avatar was for you.
Avatar was huge for me, but I would like to briefly hit the point on ReZero and how impactful that was for me.
Carry on.
Because I had spent about a year not having a job and chilling down here watching anime on this big screen.
Yeah, this is a big screen, by the way.
Yeah, there's a white
Projector.
wall with a projector all the way over there. It's pretty great. And that's what I do. I didn't have a job. I just stayed here. I was pretty sad and alone. And I watched it. The reason I watched it is because Rem got Best Girl of the Year.
Brand best girl.
And, you know, I'm a guy, and I'm a sucker for that. And so I was like, okay, I'll watch it. It's true. It's true. And so I watched it, and there's that whole moment where he suffered so much, and I had gone through my own trials that were kind of rough during that time. And he talked about how he spent all of his time alone doing nothing, and he was useless. And I related to that so well. And she was like, "You're still a good person, and you're still someone worthy of being loved by a girl."
That
And it was amazing. And
that speech by Rem.
and it
That
got
was
me to get a job and to meet this one.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
that's huge. It was huge
It's
for
good
me.
stuff. It's good stuff.
Do you have anything?
Maybe I need to watch that anime. Maybe I'll get this one too.
Maybe you'll get a girlfriend.
One can hope.
Anime gets you girls, guys.
What?
To circle all the way back around now, Quinn's experience is anime and girls.
Anime and girls.
Anime and girls! 10 out of 10, Quinn. But, y'all have anything?
Yeah.
We'll go,
Sure.
Turner, go.
A recent anime that I watched, well, not recent, like, when it came out, but recent for me, but when I watched it.
Just start and stop again.
I think we'll be okay.
Erased. It
That's a
was
good one.
so good. Like, it made me think, and it made me, like, reassess how I look at people. Because, I don't know, just things aren't always what they seem. And I'm not saying, like, everyone's a kidnapping, murdering, terrible person, but, like, it was just so cool. The combination of, like, the concept and the way that, I'm blanking on his name, but the main character. But the way he's, like, constantly looking to, someone like Sakata, like, just help people and make things better than they were. And, like, we don't have the opportunity to go back in time and do that, but we can look at the situations around us and be like, hey, that person looks like somebody I can help.
Yeah.
I also think about that show, what was so good about it to me was his character growth, the main character of, he kind of went from, okay, what's the one thing I have to fix to get back to my life, to everyone has something that they need, and everyone has something that you could help them with, and whether they look like they're having a good time or not, everyone needs a friend, and so, and also another way that friendships save you, and so that he was willing to go back in time and essentially give up a lot of things to help his friends is something that he learned.
And to specifically go out of his way to help those people who were alone and, like, make it so that they weren't alone, which is, I don't know, it's kind of like the opposite of your experience, Gwen, because you were alone in your basement, but then you got out and met people. But he was like, I see people who are alone, but I don't want them to be alone, so I'm going to help them
I
be their
loved
friend.
the concept on that one. They hit the point. They hit the nail on the head of the girl's mother.
No spoils.
Of hurt people hurt people.
Yes.
Not just like bad people are bad people, which is like the final bad guy is just a bad person because he's
A bad
a
person.
little bit not mentally there.
Oh, he's all there.
He's
but
all messed up, right?
Yeah, he's just a bad guy.
He's just a bad dude. But the first one was hurt people, and I love that. And I love thinking that most people in this world are good. That all people in this world are good people at least in the inside, even if they do bad things.
Yeah.
We all want to be good people,
Or in that respect, that
unless you're.
it's a lot your circumstances really shape you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and the comparison between I can remember his friend's name, Hinazuki, and the main character
Satoru?
Satoru. Yes, thank you. Is like their home circumstances are pretty similar. Like as far as like they both live in single mother. They you know what I'm trying to say. They both just
Yeah.
live at home with their mother. But
And
just
they have
their
the same birthday.
That's true. That's true. March 2nd. Oh, that's a minor spoiler. That's not a big deal.
I was just like, that's
Um,
interesting.
They got the same birthday. They're very
Precious.
relatable to each other. It is precious.
But just like the way that their relationships are, and like you said, the circumstances, while they're similar, they're so different, and so it changes the way that they are as people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Jaden, did you have one in recent memory? Had a major impact on you?
Had a major impact on me.
If not, that's fine.
Like I said, I don't think I have an anime that necessarily changed me in that way.
It's just kind of like an overtime
yeah,
effect.
I've had music that's changed me that way. We can talk more about that if we talk about music.
Uh-huh.
We will. Oh, definitely.
Perfect. And
I'm excited for that one.
I've had books that have changed me that way, but I don't think any shows that I've watched.
Not any
Have ever-
mangas?
Manga's definitely Full Metal Alchemist. It changed the way I saw storytelling, and the way that stories could be told, and also, like, again, what Quinn said about Erased is hurt people, in a way.
Like,
Like, everyone has a story, and, like, the way that things connect, I don't know, it changed the way that I saw a lot of how stories work, and why people do things, and things like that.
yeah. Yeah, basically. Do you have something to say?
yeah, I don't know, because like what you're saying, there's absolutely truth in that, like the hurt people phrase. But like, I also look at Hohenheim, and he suffered a lot. Like his family, his entire country was demolished, sacrificed for the sake of Philosopher's Stones, and he knew each and every one of them, and he feels pain every time he uses one of them. But he uses them for good, and like he goes around and helps people as much as he can.
Mm-hmm.
So
Spoilers, by the way.
watch it.
What does that really give away, though?
That's true. I mean,
Without the context of the story. What
Without
does
the
that
context.
Unless you
really
know,
give
it's
away?
like-
Yeah.
But still,
because
spoilers.
I don't think you meet Hohenheim for the first
a while.
yeah.
You know of him, yeah.
Mhm.
A long time.
Yeah, you see his silhouette in his picture. Oh,
That just blew my mind. In the opening.
We'll talk about that, don't worry.
when you finally see the photograph of him with his
We already
family, and
talked
it's
about
just
it.
like,
Like,
Oh.
So would I. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
anyway. Yeah.
I think, I mean,
That's all I wanted.
I also
Yeah, I'm
liked
good.
about Full Metal
It's
Alchemist
been
that
an
touched my life, which was, no matter what your circumstances were, you can always make something better. And even though hurt people, and circumstances do things to you, and you make choices, still, like, living with the consequence of your choice and choosing to make something good out of it is still something you can choose, even though bad things happen.
So good. He
Yes.
changes because,
Yeah.
like, he was almost as much a terrible person as his dad was. He could have been,
close.
He could have been.
but he
He kind of wasn't, though. He
okay,
kind of explained that.
like he
that-
could have become that kind of person. Is what I'm saying.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'll give you that.
But he didn't because he made choices that didn't. Well, also, best father type figure ever, Uncle Iroh.
Oof. Gets
He's
me right in the feels, man.
We're gonna have a whole episode on impactful anime and how it impacted you. So
Okay, sorry,
don't say
sorry.
everything you've got.
Yeah, don't say everything.
Okay.
Don't worry. We'll have a lot to say then. This kind of got a little bit off topic, but also I'm fine with it. In terms of like gateway anime, obviously our gateway anime are somewhat impactful. So talking about more impactful anime as well is nice because those help you to not only want to watch more anime, but also want to like improve yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what makes these shows so entertaining. Like, I haven't watched or heard of or heard from my family about any, television show, sitcom, what have you, that they've watched that has been, nearly as impactful as something like ReZero or Avatar or what have you. I say that a lot. Anyway,
I have a lot. That's what I have.
Yeah. But it seems that anime has such an abundance of this and of these stories that are designed to change you, right? And that's what makes things like Death Note, even for me, which was like one of my gateway animes, was incredibly impactful for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it has an insane story and an insane moral to it. Its theme is very important, I think. If you really break it down and you're like, oh, like, this is why killing people is bad. This is why, like, it's kind of along the same lines as, like, why we study history. It's so we don't make the same mistakes. Now, anime's kind of over the top and superpowers and stuff like that.
That one definitely has like a theme of justifying your own actions, even though they're terrible actions.
And if you break that down, you think it doesn't matter. The actions speak louder than words, kind of thing.
At the same time, part of it is like the concept of why humans, especially like part like in the justice system, need emotion, not just logic. Because logically, Light was right. Like, that is exactly how society should run.
Yep.
But morally, emotionally, that would ruin humanity as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
And there were tons of people that like killed that totally didn't deserve it.
Absolutely.
There were a lot that did, most likely, but there's way more that didn't. And so, anyway, a lot of anime are impactful, and
that's why
starting with impactful anime as well as our gateway animes and how they influenced us to continue watching is I guess what we really wanted to talk about today. And I think next time we'll probably be doing Anime Awards. We're going to be talking about those because those are coming up. The Crunchyroll Anime Awards.
Oh yes.
Don't worry, we'll talk about that. And
Moral
what
of the
our
story.
thoughts are on them.
Oh, yeah.
Granted, I don't think we've watched nearly like half the shows that are nominated.
We've watched a lot of shows, but not that many.
Not that many.
Not that many.
Most of it. Well, it's all from
So many.
2018, and we haven't watched nearly as much from them. But we'll still talk about them, and we'll do our own little awards thing. So be sure to check that out. That should be fun. But the next normal one, the one that will be on the normal timeline, basically, is going to be Gateway Anime. That's what we're going to talk about next.
That's
That's what we
talked
just
about
we just
today.
barely talked about that.
I think
Nope.
what he's trying to say is, like, that was the anime that got you in, and now if you were going to hook your
okay,
friends,
okay,
Oh,
gotcha.
yeah.
what do you recommend?
What
She
a
gets
good gateway.
That's
anime.
right, me and Kyle.
Both me and Quinn, like,
Oh.
we
We're like-
just talked about that.
You guys are dense. It's fine. It's fine.
It's obvious who the smart ones are here.
Yeah, it's fine.
Moral of the story: anime gets you girls. Have a nice day.
Anyway,
I'm-
thank you guys so much
I'm
for
done.
watching. If you guys did indeed enjoy, a like is very much appreciated. If you want to continue watching more of these podcasts, and if you want to see these two fool around at the end of the episode, then just be sure to subscribe.
We
Anyway,
like likes.
And if you have anything else to say to us, if you want to add to our conversation, just do so down below in the comments. We very much so appreciate that as well. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye.